So we are going to multiply using scientific notation. So first I want to just talk about remember that we're multiplying. So if you have two parentheses here and there's nothing between them, remember that we always say that that's multiplication. If it was anything else, then you would put a addition sign between them, you would put a division sign, or subtraction. So if they're right next to each other without anything, you can always write that in there if you want to. You don't have to, but you can write it in there. And then now let's think about these numbers without scientific notation, and then we'll go back and do with scientific notation. So if I have 2 times 10 squared, well, remember 10 squared is 10 times 10. So if I do 2 times 10, that would be 20, and 20 times 10 would be 200, or you could move the decimal 2 times. So if I have 200 times, and then let's do 4 times 10 to the 4th, or 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, which would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be 10,000, or 1, 2, 3, 4. So 200 times 40,000. You could multiply that out, and I'm going to use a calculator. 200 times 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, would give you 8 million. So it'd be 8 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it'd be 8 million. Notice, if you look at this, all we did was multiply 2 times 4. And then if you look, there was 2 tens here and 4 tens here, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's helpful to notice that, because what you can also do, and I'm going to rewrite this over here just so that you can see the second way. I do not want you to try to do it this way all the time. That will mess you up. So the next one way that you can do this is you can take these numbers, and I don't want to use purple because that color never shows up very well. So you can take the 2 and the 4, so I could write it as 2 times 4, and multiply those. And then I can take the 10 squared and the 10 to the 4th, and combine those. So I can multiply the two numbers, and then I can combine or multiply these pieces of information. So 10 squared, remember, is 10 times 10, and then we have 10 to the 4th, which if we, oh, don't look at that, which if you think about it, that would be 10 to the 6th power, because I have 2 plus 4, so that would be 10 to the 6th. Then we have 2 times 4, which is 8. So 8 times 10 to the 6th, which would be our answer. So all we did was multiply 2 times 4, which is 8. And then if we have 10 squared and 10 to the 4th, 2 plus 4 is 6. We could also take this number right here and write it into scientific. Sorry, that was probably really loud. I dropped my pen. So I could write it, notice the decimal is currently there. I want to get it here, so I need to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And notice that's a really big number, so this would have to be a positive 6. Which is, notice, the same answer. Okay? All right, let's do another one. I'm not going to do this step again because sometimes these get really, really big and it gets challenging. So what I want you to do each time is multiply this times that. So we're going to write it as 0.8 times 1.28 times 10 to the negative fourth times 10 to the sixth. Okay, now think about our rules for exponents. If I have something to the negative fourth power, I can write it on the bottom. Then I have 10 to the sixth, so 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, over 10 to the fourth, 4. So I'm left with 10 squared. And then I need to multiply that out. So it would be 0.8 times 1.28, which is 1.024 times sorry, you probably couldn't see that number. Times, and then if you notice, we have 10 squared. Remember, we can do negative 4 plus 6, which equals negative 4. So if I owe you $4 and I give you 6, I gave you 2 too many. Remember, you can do negative 4 plus 6, which is 2. And this is why we did that foldable with our all of those rules, because in some cases it takes way too long to write all of these out. Whereas if you just remembered negative 4 plus 6 is 2, you would be done and you wouldn't have to do this. So remember, add exponents when multiplying. Okay. This next one gets, there's one extra step to it. So again, take 3.5 and multiply 4.2. So 3.5 times 4.2 is 14.7. So 3.5 times 4.2 equals 4.7. And then add your exponents. So it would be negative 2 plus 4, which would equal negative 2. So if I owe you $2 and I give you $4, I gave you 2 too many. So then it would be 14.7, I'm sorry, times 10 squared. Now, if you think about scientific notation, this number has to be between 1 and 10. Is 14 between 1 and 10? No, so we have one extra step. You have to make sure the answer is between 1 and 10. So that goes to this. Trying to figure out what color I want. So if I have 14.7, I need it to be 1.47. So I actually have to move the decimal once. So it actually would be 1.47. So if I'm writing this information, it'd be 1.47 times 10, and it moved one time. Now, it's 14.7, so I would have to say 1.47 times 10, because 1.47 is 14.7. So remember, I moved the decimal one time. To remember if it's a positive or negative is if the number was larger than this, it needs to be a 1 or a positive 1 because it was a positive 1 move. And then we still have that times 10 squared. So then if you think about this, we actually have 10 times 10 times 10, so it'd be 10 cubed. So it'd be 1.47 times 10 cubed. (1.47 times 10 cubed). Remember, this right here was the extra step because we had to get it from 14.7 to 1.47. So that is right there.